Hello once more, this is Mr. Chaska at BSAT Abu Dhabi. I'm going to talk you through a more advanced version of an Excel if function. If we take a look at the previous screenshots of what we did earlier, as you can see here we have a variety of students with passes or fails according to an average mark that they received. And you can see here the formula is if F3, which in this case is the average calculation, is larger than or equal to 60, then they pass or fail. That's all well and good, but what I'd rather have is something akin to a pass mark. And within the pass mark, I'll just adjust the column, I'd like to set a pass mark of let's say 50 in this case. What I'd like this to be able to do is to be dynamically looking from this cell at this cell, comparing it to this cell, so that it therefore decides does it pass or fail. So how do we do this? It's not a huge amount of difference between the previous one. We still say we refer to the cell F3 in this case, so if F3 is greater than or equal to, but in this time we say this cell here. So here, if F3 is bigger than or equal to F9, then pass or fail. And in this case, because the pass mark is 50, and this mark is higher than this mark, it will pass. If the pass mark was suddenly arbitrarily 49, and it would also pass. If this mark was, let's say, 60, then it would fail, because of course 57.7 is below 60. Similarly, if this is 58, it would also fail. If it's 57, it would pass. Now, we can clearly do this down the line here, so we could go to this one, and again, we'd have to point in the same direction, so we have to point from there to F9. And what I notice here is that the formula in this cell refers to F9, as does this one. Now we have an issue here. If I wanted to replicate the cell formula down here, what I'm going to get is everybody's passing. Even Charlie, who averaged 56.7, has technically passed, even though it's below the mark of 57. This is because if we look at the code, we see that actually in the replication, in cascading the formula down, it's also cascaded the reference to F9. So this is now F11. Similarly, this is now F12. This is not good. It's because we're using a relative cell reference. What we need to do is make it absolute. How do we do this? It's not terribly difficult. Double click. F9 is indeed the one we want. I'm going to put a $sign at the beginning of the F, a $sign at the beginning of the 9. This locks it down into something called an absolute cell reference, which basically means that if you were to copy this formula and use it in cells below, it's say G4, G5, G6, G7 or so on, it would change the F3 to F4, F5, F6 and so on, but it wouldn't change this one, the F9. Let me demonstrate that. I'll copy this down. Now it looks like we're in business. We look at this one here. F9 is still the one that's referred to, even though F4 has changed. This one should say F5 and F9. Similarly, F6 and F9. So F9 has been locked down by these $signs. Let's change this just to see does it work. 65. And we have more failures because the pass mark has increased, so we know that this works. Because I'm running this on Windows in a Mac, I can't hit F4, but a shortcut is if you were to go over, say, this cell reference, if you hit F4 on a Windows keyboard, it would put the $signs in automatically. Okay? Thank you.